Shut up! I went to like a 1 hour hair and makeup before this. Don't be. I gotta use them. I feel like Dolly Parton in 9 to 5.
You need a wig and a fan.
Shut up.
And a microphone.
All right.
Are we live again?
Say hi, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
You dumb.
Shut up.
He's talking to himself again.
Hi, Tony.
This
Hi,
is
Tony.
my life.
Can you
It's
hear
me
me?
and the dog for 2 weeks. 3 weeks. We're going on 3 weeks. Me and the dog.
Have you been working from home?
Mm-hmm.
The building shut down again.
Oh, there we are.
Working from home.
I think we're live.
We love that life.
Howdy, guys. How you?
Something's not right. Thomas is talking, but it's not right.
Oh no,
He's stuck in the computer.
I'm stuck in the. Oh no!
Your video was lagging.
Okay, now my sister can hear us, she said.
Everybody?
Oh. Since when?
Just a second ago.
Yeah, I want to know at what point did the delay happen.
Right.
Was I yelling about
worried
her?
about it.
10 minutes ago.
Did she hear you talking to yourself?
That's just normal for Tony.
She's
He's
like,
like, "Hey, Tony."
Hi, Tony.
She's sending mental help.
That sounds about right. This is what
Can
quarantine
people hear us?
doing to everybody.
Send us money if you can hear us.
Please.
Venmo is
Facebook cash.
Venmo our money.
Can need Diet Coke money.
I know.
69
That's the real
cents.
travesty.
so. Give us some hearts if you can hear everybody. If you can hear Tony, give us some hearts.
Black hearts for Tony.
But
Tony, say thanks.
Should I actually talk so they can?
Yeah.
Say hi,
so they
Tony.
can hear me?
Yeah, Tony. When I give you that prompt to talk, you got to say something. That's how it works.
Like, let
This
me
feels
know
like
if Tony you can hear Tony, but then I'm not saying anything.
You see
That's
that?
why we said Tony's trying to hear himself.
All right.
Say hi, Tony.
Looks like we've got some hearts now. We've got
Thanks,
some folks
Tony.
reacting. And all right, so here we are. Spence, we can't see you. We only see Our Spoopy Podcast, your shirt, and Kennedy. Hey, Ken.
Just trying to say he's putting his hands on me.
He is hashtag me too. All right, third try is a charm, right? And welcome, folks. Welcome to you guys. Welcome to the folks who are following along. We finally, I think, got this figured out. We just wanted to have a kiki because the 5 of us haven't seen each other in a while. And like I said, just so people know who we are, I'm Thomas from Let's Talk About Gay Stuff. And I have been holed up in quarantine because the question is, who are you, what are you drinking, and what have you been doing during quarantine? And I've been holed up with Spencer, and it's been fun, and we haven't killed each other, so that's good. Not even come close. It's been very pleasant. And what have I been doing? I've been working. It's the same thing for me. I work from home often, so that's not a big deal. Drinking my drag name, Ginny Tonics. Chris, what about you?
Hi, I'm Chris from Our Spoopy Podcast. Woo! I'm drinking red wine because red wine is one of my favorite things to drink. Surprisingly, not drinking White Claw. I'm sorry, Dusty. They weren't cold yet, so I had to put it. But I'm drinking my favorite red wine. It's actually from a winery in Argentina. It's a Malbec. So if you ever want to buy me one, I'm a cheap date. So anyone can buy me a $10 bottle of wine, and you can get it from HEB section. What have I been doing during this quarantine? I have been playing Animal Crossing for 2 weeks straight, and I am living for it.
She fancy.
You have to tell us about this Animal Crossing because I have no clue what's going on.
You watch it every week when we do the podcast, Kendall.
It's a lot of
Things are going on
nonsense.
behind me. I don't really question it.
It's the game with Morky in it. A little Morky.
What about you, Kendall? What you been doing?
Stop, y'all.
Kendall, where did Kendall go? What do you?
Here.
Oh, Morky.
I'm Kendall.
Kendall.
Let's talk about gay stuff. Drinking Pinot Grigio.
Oh, fancy.
Only the best peanut for me. What have I been doing? A lot of pacing, a lot of crying while I stare at the window. You know, I hear there's a virus going on. My life really hasn't changed that much.
It's about the same, except you can't do it at Whataburger.
It's the same routine for me.
Sounds about right.
Just wiping my tears.
With Morky. I'm going to skip over you, Tony. Spence, what you been up to?
Oh, again.
I mean, it's more important.
Do it.
I'm Spencer from Our Spoopy Podcast. I have been playing Animal Crossing as well, and Civilization, and all video games because they take a lot of time. Waking up at 11 o'clock is important. Pretty much those. And I'm drinking White Claw because I'm not a terrible host. White Claw, but in Our Spoopy Podcast drink.
Oh yeah, those are from Veronica. So thanks to my sister for those.
Thanks.
These
One day we'll get that White Claw sponsorship.
Yeah, there we go. All right, and Tony, what about you?
So, Tony, host of Let's Talk About Gay Stuff. I'm drinking hazy IPA from the neighborhood brewery that's a couple blocks away, supporting the locals. I've pretty much been working, and that's pretty much it. Working, riding my bike, because Houston's like beautiful right now. We have amazing spring weather, so low-key. Not a lot has changed for me with the quarantine. I don't have a very exciting life anyway.
You're showing off your fancy rooftop deck. What's the view look like over there? What's the view behind you? I didn't say the view of your behind.
Downtown Houston from the rooftop.
Nice.
There we go.
Fancy.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got a jumper.
I love the middle-aged woman angles you're giving us. Lots of forehead.
Well, I'm not a very good photographer.
I see
there we go.
The grandbabies are watching.
What's that?
I see your naked neighbors over there.
Shut up.
This one's for the grandbabies.
Well, I mean, it was fun. I mean, Why Tuesday? I mean, or why are we getting together? Like I said, we're just trying to kiki. Today's transgender visibility day, so that's our trans visibility day. So that's a big thing. So it's good to shout that out. I obviously have also been depressed today because, as we noted in our podcast episode, we're talking about Selena, her death, and she died 25 years ago.
Selena, yeah.
And I'm still sad about it, but I don't want to talk about it.
A lot of people are posting today about Selena.
Yeah, you know what?
Thomas today sent me a long, I fast forwarded through it, but he sent me a long Selena in memoriam video. It was like a bunch of sad clips. I'm like, okay, this is random. And I responded back, all so sad. And he said, I meant to send it to myself. Which was even sadder than the video.
Well,
But
I found it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I should watch. I text myself a lot of things that I want to go back to and watch later, and so that's what I meant to do. But I guess, Kendall, you were the last. Oh, because you've been plugging my text feed with Morky pictures. I have like 100 pictures of Morky.
it's still not enough.
She's cute. Bless her heart. Bless her heart.
Shut up.
So just to keep this interesting, because there are folks watching, we had a homework assignment to ask a question for the group in terms of what we've been up to. And Chris, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I have to pull up my question because I have to remember it. I've had some wine since then.
Some vinos.
So my question for the group, or for all of those listening as well, what's one thing that, like, during this time, like being home and away from others, that you realize that you've kind of like taken for granted during like this time separated from others? You know?
Ooh.
Mm.
What do you want to go first?
Who?
I said Tony.
Oh, you called out Tony to go first.
Sure.
Since Thomas skipped him.
Yes. So I guess one thing that I kind of, took for granted that is it's nice to like just pause once in a while. I feel like we get so busy with our daily life, whether it's like work, like if you're going to school, whatever, I feel like you just get so busy with like, you have to see friends, you have to go to work, you have to like work out, do all this stuff. And I've just seen a lot of like, as I ride my bike every night, families picnicking. There's like a lot of things we can't do right now because we're kind of on partial shutdown. And so I think it's kind of one of the benefits is people are just taking a pause and spending time together. Like, so I was actually back home in Montana a couple weeks ago with a bunch of family members, and St. Patrick's Day is like a huge holiday back where I'm from. That's why we all went up there and we met up. And so we were really looking forward to like partying on St. Patrick's Day. And, it starts out with a parade at like 11 o'clock. And then like you pretty much drink all day till 2 a.m. and like all the streets are blocked off. Well, the day before they actually canceled everything. And so originally we were like pretty bummed and everything. But we ended up spending like a day and a half in the house just like playing board games and things like that. And so one of the benefits was if St. Patrick's Day would have went on, like 3 or 4 people go here, 3 or 4 people go there, and you see each other, but you're like, whatever. So it's kind of nice just to be like a day and a half in the house, spending time with each other. So I think that's one thing that's kind of like we take for granted sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So then it says, I miss hanging out with people who aren't Chris, which is important. And Millie Fraser said, "Ooh, we had so much fun, Tony."
Yes. Kendall, you got anything for Chris's?
How's the quarantine affected me or whatever?
What did you take for granted?
Oh, okay.
What is one thing you took for granted that you realized before this?
See, it really hasn't affected my life that much. I'm antisocial. I don't like to leave the house. It's brought out just my normal routine. But honestly, I've not been the cutest during this. I don't respond to this quarantine adversity very well. I've gotten grumpier. It's possible.
Grumpier than normal.
Impatient. So thankfully, only one other person has to deal with that. Thankfully for you all, horribly for him.
Well, now we're on this third hour. We'll see what happens.
Now the 6th month of this, I'll get really good at it.
And now
I'll be where y'all are.
I would say it was just a couple weeks before this whole coronavirus. Kendall and I were having margaritas, and he's like, I just want to be a house husband. I just want to sit at home, do house projects, take naps. Voila. That bitch is in hot heaven right now.
Now I just want to be a workaholic. Like, change me.
It's like I'm ready to go get stuff
A
done.
different one of my multiple personalities.
Yeah, I guess just to round out the Let's Talk About Gay Stuff crew, I think I've been just being around people, like being able to, most of the time I kind of work in my own world, but just being able to connect with people in person. And, I like to work from coffee shops and people watch. And so not being able to do that, I definitely miss all of that.
I will say my sanity has always been going somewhere and having a giant diabetic-sized gallon of Diet Coke. And I will go for hours and just watch people. It's like my coffee shop. And I don't have that anymore. I have to drink out of cans like cavemen used to do.
Oh, my goodness.
Like uncivilized
Heathens.
And it's affected me. I've lost my coping mechanism.
Well, I feel like one thing that we all miss, because Kendall would like go to Whataburger and sit there for 3 hours in the corner drinking Diet Coke, and he'd post on Facebook all these crazy stories. So I feel the world is missing it.
Now you have to just
all
see
the
what
good stuff happens at Whataburger.
Now you have to just see what goes on in his head, and that's even a scarier place.
Right.
The voices are loud now.
Storing it all up.
What about you, Spence?
I miss the people watching, but I miss hugging.
Oh,
We're not allowed to hug anymore. Huh?
I said, you took mine. I was going to say that was one thing that I took for granted, that I don't like hugs. I've never really liked hugs. But then I realized, like, having 2 weeks of people not trying to hug me, I'm like, wait, I'm going to hug.
2 weeks.
More like 5 years, Chris. Not even your mom will hug you.
Yeah. Well, I also haven't seen her in 2 months as well.
oh,
I guess having that, another thing. It's like, I guess I've taken that for granted too. That my family's not that far away. They're 3 hours away, easy drive, pop on over there. But like having that ability to like go and do that whenever, but I've like planned 2 weeks in advance, like make sure I don't see any other people, like don't do anything else. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I can go visit them, you know? It's like that capability of just like going to do that whenever I wanted to for granted.
Yeah. What about who's left? Chris, you answered that question. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Good.
I kind of stepped on Spencer's toes, so if he wants another answer, I'm sorry.
That's per usual.
My favorite, the thing that I've taken for granted most is being able to call Chris a bitch.
There you go.
In person.
I was going to say,
I can only do my text now.
He feels it.
I feel the energy. Like, I'll just feel it, like, randomly in my bones. Like, oh, it's like, oh.
You know you're there.
Here's the burning.
Yeah.
What's your question, Kendall?
Oh, I have 2.
Oh, of course.
One of them just came up into my head. How have your grooming habits changed? Is everybody showering daily?
I'll go first. Yes, every day. I may have missed one day. Not 3 days.
Thomas, is that true?
No, he showers regularly.
He can smell the difference between 1 and 3.
I've been taking more baths.
The nose knows.
Lots of calming baths with lots of products.
Tony.
So my grooming habits are actually on fleek. I have to like shower, shave every day, everything, or I'm not like in the right mindset. So not really much has changed there. Actually, if anything, they're probably like better because like I have time every day to do whatever I need. Versus like sometimes like, oh, I want to clip my nails, but I got to get to work like right now, so I'll do it tomorrow. So not much has changed there. I'm pretty like legit.
Oh, I guess I have an add-on to mine then. I decided that I was going to shave my entire face for the first time in some years.
What'd you think? Was it what you remembered it as?
Yeah, it's nothing to write home about.
What you remembered it as? The memories. It's been 84 years.
It's been 84 years. Throw it in the ocean.
Okay, I have a second question, though. And this is a big one, and I know it's all over social media. And I don't think y'all have seen it. And if the answer is no, why have you not seen Tiger King? Please go out and watch it. Chris, have you?
I got 3 texts today about Tiger King. I need to see it. I have not seen it.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet. I've seen
Go
it.
ahead, sorry.
Like,
You know what you guys have to do?
because I've been playing Animal Crossing. I can't do both at the same time. That's an important thing to watch. No, Savannah and Aaron were
The
watching.
Tigers are more important.
Yeah, that's true. Savannah and Aaron were watching this weekend, and they were really loving it. But they had I came down at episode 2 or episode 3, so they had already watched a little bit of it. And so I was making breakfast, and I watched whatever they were watching at the time. It's really interesting. Obviously, Carol Baskin killed her husband. But that was all I kind of saw.
Okay, guys, now y'all don't have to watch it.
So now I have to go back and watch all of it to understand the full love for Joe Exotic, because Twitter is blowing up about it.
It's amazing. It's the show of our times.
Yeah, obviously.
It's just about a
It's the new dynasty.
meth-addicted tiger keeper in Oklahoma.
Basically.
Even the Tigers are on that.
It's
Wow.
weird.
Oh my God.
It's weird because that show has become super popular. I mean, it's all over Twitter. Like everyone's talking about it, but like every part of my social circle, like gay, straight, old, young, conservative, liberal, they're all watching it and all obsessed with it. So it's quite strange. So we're gonna have to watch it at some point. We actually got into what were we watching, Spence? Big or little
Little fires everywhere.
Yeah, with Reese's
Oh
Witherspoon
my God, that has Olivia Pope in it.
and Olivia Pope. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It has Kerry Washington.
Oh my God.
That's not her name.
The actress that plays Olivia Pope.
The actress, yes.
And Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah. She's good in it. She plays the same character, but she's good at playing that character. So I'm okay with that. I forgive her.
Well, she was amazing in Big Little Lies, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Did y'all watch that? Did y'all watch that? Because I know y'all got my HBO password.
I don't have your HBO password, so I have not.
We stole my brother's. We didn't steal
Somebody
yours.
Chris and I have to buy our own HBO passwords.
I've got someone else's.
I'm selling those now.
Chris, let's get a joint account.
Okay,
It's like we're gonna be married or something.
I'll pay you $2.50 every month. What is it, like $5?
All
I
right.
love that.
Oh my god.
Spence, go.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I didn't answer the shower question. I think I've showered like mostly every day because I've been like trying to force myself to work out because that's like my little bit of sanity. Like I'll have to put down Animal Crossing. Okay, hold on, I'll be back, babies. Don't you worry.
Nobody believes you.
No one believes
What are you doing to work out? Do you run or what? What, Chris?
I've gone on runs, but like I mostly do like I've got little like dumbbells, so like I'll do like
Okay.
stairs several times. I look like a crazy person pacing back and forth, and then I've got like they're not very heavy, but like they go up to like 22 pounds, something like that. So I can like change.
My neighbors are doing a little boot camp in the middle of the street every afternoon. Every day when I get off work, I go to watch chocolate, and there's 5 or 6 people in the street doing the boot camp.
I thought you were going to
Are they
say you
naked?
participated in the boot camp, but no, you walk by them.
No.
I walk by them and I'm like, hey, how y'all doing?
He just stares.
Every one of Tony's stories since this lockdown has happened, it's been I was hanging out with so-and-so, or I was in a big group of people, and we were
No,
working out, and we were
he's-
chatting.
He's been staying at home and going outside, and that's
All
it.
of them.
No, that boot camp is less than 10 people, and I do just walk by, don't participate because it's all women. I'm like,
That's your group, though.
Your moment.
if there were cuties, maybe, but actually, my fat ass could not be doing no boot camp. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Kendall,
I mean, it hasn't been anything great, but it's been like something. So yes, I shower every day. I have not been shaving, so today I had to do a little bit of manscaping to get prepared for this.
Well, you said you're a cheap date, so you need to stay prepared.
I know. You give me a $10 bottle of wine, I'm ready to go.
manscaping. What part of the your body were you planning to show for the? It's like, woo!
Let's keep
It's like,
it classy.
hello.
My legs. I'm just kidding.
Thomas
Sure.
even said, he goes, let's keep it classy.
Warned us.
He set us up for failure.
I did.
When have any of our podcasts been classy?
Well, okay, since we're,
Every single one.
since we're like
Kendall.
semi-classy right now, I do have a question for Chris. This is not a general question, so it only applies to Chris, really.
Oh boy.
Well, me and Chris, but
We'll mute it.
so Chris, how have you found the culture of Grindr to have changed since the whole quarantine?
Oh, I
Do
actually
you
haven't
notice the
been on
difference?
Grindr. I haven't been on Grindr. I've actually been on like Hinge and Tinder a lot more, and I've actually gotten more responses. So obviously people are like,
Maybe I should try Hinge. I feel like I've been on Tinder a couple times, and like I never get nothing. It's like crickets.
So it's just a
What if you
grinder and
said-
scruff for you.
Be blocked during the quarantine.
I know
Did
people
they
locked
let
on Grindr.
Oh my god!
Wait, how has Grindr been for you, Tony? I haven't experienced it, so maybe I should.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. Straight people
I
like
bet.
working from home and bored.
Tony.
I bet, like, I'm tired
I
of
feel
my
like there's a
life.
lot of,
I
like-
need something else.
Exactly. There's a lot of straight men that are like, my wife's essential and I'm not essential.
Oh,
They don't say that, but it's like,
That's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah, yes.
no, I do feel there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm so bored, so they're getting on it. But that's what I was going to ask you about.
interesting. I remember being on it during Hurricane Harvey, and that was like the sign of the apocalypse. I think I chatted with you, just like, "Hey, Tony, how's it going?"
So basically,
I was far away from you.
basically, Tony's
That's how
always
we
on
met,
Grindr.
really.
Tony on Grindr is the common denominator for all these disasters. Because Tony, I think we met on Grindr right after Harvey. I was
Next
so-
up, Yellowstone is going to blow up.
Oh my
anything in
Come
my
on,
life.
2020.
Tony, I think it's time you pay for the premium package there for Grindr already. Okay.
No, that's the thing. I just get on there when I'm bored and peruse. I never actually do anything. So
Oh, your
I'm not
sister.
going to pay for something that I don't really
Your sister's
She's a
on
browser.
here.
doesn't really provide any benefit to me.
Your sister's hearing all your dirty laundry, and you started it.
Well, your mom listens to this, so I'm like, it's okay.
It's fair enough. Fair enough. Kendall, I just want to. I was looking at the chats here. Now, apparently, you're not alone in terms of your watching of the whatever the Tiger King or whatever. Samuel Owens, who often comments and follows us. He said he's been watching it, and he has a few comments. So yeah. So you're not alone because none of us have touched
Okay,
it. so-
Sammy, did Carol feed her husband to the tigers?
She said, the comments say killed her husband. Sorry if it's a spoiler for anybody.
Fed, sorry to spoil it.
Wait, so is the Tiger King, is it in Netflix where the whole season is out right now?
7 episodes. You can watch them all right now. You can go to bed at 4 a.m. if you start now. Get off the call.
How many of you?
I've been going to bed at 4 a.m.
That's my question.
Oh, sorry.
Over to you, Spence. What's your question? What's your question, Spence?
What's your
My question is, what is your sleeping habits? When's the latest you've been to bed and the earliest up?
Oh.
I go to bed the same. I still work from 9 to whatever. I still work, so I go to bed at 11 or midnight. Midnight the latest. Boring.
Was 5:30.
Always, every night.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, the demons try to keep me up, but they're always going to be with me.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere.
The kukui.
They're loud tonight.
The latest I stayed up was 5:30 a.m. It was after I fell asleep on the couch for a nap at 8, and I woke up. I'm ready to go. So then I started a new day on Animal Crossing while I was still awake. I'm like, oh
my God.
The day started at 5 a.m. So, and I learned that at that time. I didn't know that was a thing.
You should have a blog, Chris.
I know, talking about my Animal Crossing experience.
Tips: stay up till 5 a.m. so you can start a new day.
Yeah,
in the same day.
That's
so what is Animal Crossing? Spencer, tell us what it is.
Animal Crossing?
What on earth is it? What I have to
kind of like The Sims. No, it's a video game.
I'm in.
Well, first of all, Kendall, it's the game he's been playing.
You've seen me play it.
But it's the same characters
Exactly.
with little Mario parties and.
No, it isn't.
Shut up! It is not.
There are. I think what you're thinking of is Super Smash Brothers, and there are characters from Animal Crossing in.
But it's crossovers.
It's time for a refill.
Okay.
No, he just doesn't know anything about it, and so he's just mixing. He's mixing.
Just saying, it was time for a refill.
Oh, I think I'm ready for refill too. Is it that time?
Yeah, refill.
I get my decanter.
Just get up and leave. Why don't you?
I know.
Owen says Animal Crossing has saved youth during this pandemic, and yes, it has saved me and Chris at least.
Kendall,
Yeah.
Kendall, from an old person's perspective, it's basically the gays who are under the age, and I guess some straights that are under the age of 29 that are playing this video game. And it's not a video game that you can
Is it
win.
like Sims? I don't know much about Sims.
In a
Like
way,
The Sims
yes.
mixed with Harvest Moon.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Well, the only thing I know about it is that our dear friend Savannah bought a whole bunch of tarantulas online.
She didn't buy him; she caught him.
Oh, that's even more.
She made it to Tarantula Island.
Well, you know that Morky's in it too.
Yeah, Isabel.
She's everywhere.
She's a little more Morky.
Morky.
Brian
Thomas, what
Orlon
question
says
you got for
everyone
us?
take a shot.
What's that?
I almost suggested doing shots at 10 to 6 before we started this thing.
Oh my God!
We could take a sip.
Tony. We should have taken it during the delay of trying to figure all this stuff out.
True.
Right? Next
We're
time we're all getting some mini bottles of iced Fireball.
It's like take one down.
I'll get those for us next time.
That would have been good. So on to Spencer's question, though, Tony. Has your sleeping habits, have they changed at all during? You don't have a commute. Not that you had a commute
No,
anyway.
so
But
I'm like a 90-year-old trapped inside a 40-year-old's body. So I go to bed between 9 and 10 every night, up at 6 in the morning. Has not varied at all during the quarantine.
Wow.
which
I'm
But
impressed.
then also, like, for work, I mean, they're kind of adamant that, like, you need to be logged on by a certain time. You can't log off until a certain time. So
Are you
it's
doing
kind of, and since my commute is normally like 10 minutes, I kind of have to keep the same routine.
Yeah, that
we're
makes
gonna
sense.
do a shot for you guys.
Yay! Cheers!
Cheers.
6 feet from each other.
It's water.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, it's just water.
Mm-hmm.
If Billy's still listening,
That's
I got
what all
the
the
M&M
sinners
koozie
say.
right here.
Well, that's why Tony, you were stressed out about meeting last night in terms of trying to test this technology. So believe it or not, we did try to test the technology to make sure it worked, and nonetheless, it still
We
took us 3
tested
attempts.
it, yeah.
But Tony was stressed because he was like 9 o'clock. Like, why? I have to go to bed. So
No, I wasn't stressed because it was 9 o'clock. I was stressed because on Sunday we all met up and I had a little too much to drink. And then last night I get home from my bike ride and they're like, "Hey, we're going to meet to test the technology." I'm like, "Did we talk about this?" They're like, "Yesterday." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
there we go.
Oh well, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, I was in no position to be like, this
Yeah.
is what we talked about on.
It's like, no, we didn't say that. Yes.
It was all via a message, but that's okay. We're all good.
We also did that. Yeah.
We have survived, and we are
And
back.
actually, I would say last night was the latest I had been to bed since the quarantine because we did that, and then I was like having a bite to eat, and by the time we just like wound down, it was like 11:30.
Okay.
Yeah, normally.
Kendall and Tony, your answers are boring. Thomas,
They've changed.
yours is what, like 2 a.m.?
Yeah, they've changed a little bit because we've been binging a bit. So, which was going to be my question because I think I'm next. Like, what is your guilty pleasure about the quarantine? And my guilty pleasure, I'll go first, so you guys can have a time to think about it. It's like I've actually been sleeping in because I don't. I mean, like I said, I normally don't have an office I go into because I work from home or coffee shops, but I don't even have to go to those. Normally, I try to make it to the gym to do a swim or something, and can't do that. So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, if I sleep in, and my business economy works as part of the gig economy, and that's obviously taking a hit with all of this. So yeah, it's been a bit of a. I'm like, if I sleep in till 9 o'clock, then no one cares. So then, but I mean, it just means I shift the day in terms of all the work that I got to get
And
done.
if I relate to you,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I agree, but
Yeah, no, 9 o'clock is late for me.
we're just older now.
Well, I used to wake up like at 7:30, like automatically, especially because Carter would wake up. Poor Carter. He would wake up and it was like instant. Like as soon as you heard him move, it was like, God, take him outside. But now, yeah. So, but because we stay up to binge watching some shows, it's been like
Tiger
9
King.
o'clock. Yes, Tiger King. Not yet. That's coming though. So that was my question. Guilty pleasure. We'll go to you, Chris. What is it?
Ooh, guilty pleasure. What is a guilty pleasure that I've been doing? Me and Savannah have literally spent like almost every waking moment together since this has all happened.
She's your guilty
Honestly,
pleasure.
my guilty pleasure is that I'm straight.
Ew.
Ew.
Just a lot of
No, because like there was even one night that me and Savannah fell asleep on separate couches at the same time together. If that makes any sense. But no, I don't know. I guess wine is my guilty pleasure. I've been drinking so much more from home than I normally do. So because I don't have bars to go out and hang out with my friends at, so I just drink.
I don't have friends to go to the bar to, so
Yeah, we don't invite you for a reason.
I shared with you.
I'll update on when you go to the bars.
I shared with you that tweet that was out there that I saw. It was just like, before all of this is like drinking alone. It's like, oh, I'm so sad. I got to change my life. I got to turn it around. Like now you're drinking at home. It's like, I'm so responsible. I'm saving my grandparents from death. So
Yeah, it's very accurate.
yes.
Like me and Savannah, as soon as like she logs off work, and it'll be around like 4:30 or 5. She's like, oh, where's my glass of wine? And I'm like, so shocking.
I think it's kind of bad for me because, like, I've never ever liked drinking at home. I just can't do it. Like, to me, it's like a social thing. But my routine has been I work all day. As soon as I get off, I walk chocolate, and then I go for a bike ride. And when I get home, I'm just like, oh, I just want a cold beer or two. So, yeah, every day I'm going to have, like, a couple of brewskis at home, but it's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I've seen memes about, like, well, after this is all over, I'm going to be, like, such a heavyweight when I go to the bars.
A few things to invest in, like in the future, like OBGYNs, divorce lawyers, and dietitians and nutritionists or fitness instructors, because we're all going to need all that stuff when it's all said and done.
Oh yeah.
Kendall, what's your guilty pleasure during all of this?
Oh, I'm the same sinner I've always been.
Well, you don't have
just
anything.
the same old gluttonous,
He just said his life hasn't changed at all.
hellbound
That's
sinner
true.
that I've ever been. Nothing's changed. I have an excuse to be mean and hateful.
No, your guilty pleasure is
I'm really
Morky.
sweet. I'm really sweet. I've been watching Morky here at the house. For those of you that don't know, Thomas and I share custody of Morky Mork, and I have the yard, so he's gifted me with the gift of Morky in the last 3 weeks. She's amazing. I send him literally 30 to 40 pictures a day of updates on her.
Yeah, because I don't trust him, so I've got to make sure. I'm like, I need pictures. I need to see the date in front of the newspaper. Make sure she's okay.
Well,
He
today
doesn't
she
eat her.
threw up, but I think it was just drugs.
Well, naturally.
She got into some drugs.
So I feel though, Kendall, your guilty pleasure could be that you are embracing a bit more. What I've noticed the last few weeks is you're embracing your Southern accent a bit more.
You all have Southern accents, except Tony.
I do.
Tony has a Midwestern one.
So Kendall, he doesn't call it a quarantine. He calls it a quarantine.
Well,
Like
it is a
eating
quarantine.
corn and you're a teenager.
So
Quarantine.
instead of 3 syllables, it's 2.
Yes.
It is a quarantine, y'all.
Quarantine.
Quarantine.
Kendall is spending his quarantine time by
Quarantine.
saving time.
Well, that's the way
and I
cutting
would
down on
like to,
syllables.
like,
Go against her.
I would like to tell all of our listeners what Kendall did to us a few weeks ago. So this is before we ever went on lockdown or anything like that. When Kendall doesn't go to the Whataburger, he goes to the Shell station by his house. And of course, the guy hates him because he gets like a 5-gallon Diet Coke for like 69 cents because he bought the
He's in
cup.
love with me.
So he's like, oh my God, we're going on lockdown in 2 days, blah, blah, blah. And Kendall's like freaking out, texting us. National Guard's going to be at the grocery stores, shooting anybody
Crying,
that tries to go to the
throwing up a
grocery
little
stores. He was trying to scare us all.
Yeah, you freaked me out, Kendall.
And y'all didn't believe me, huh?
I
Here we
know.
are. And here we are isolated doing a
It was all because that guy was
isolated podcast.
trying to scare away because he hates dealing with him.
It's true.
Yes. Right
So what
after
you're
that,
saying
That
is
guy was
I'm
just
their
like, get
call
out of here with your 5 gallons of 49 cents.
after you did that, I was. Oh wait. Cheers. After you sent
I
that
know, he
fucking
was just trying to
text,
scare
I was
everybody.
trying to get Thomas to go to Randall's to fucking plan more.
Oh yeah, because you guys were sending those texts.
Get toilet paper.
And I left the group
He,
because you scared the shit out of me.
Oh my God.
he did.
Did.
He did. He's like, I can't listen to this stuff anymore.
Well, you need to go to Randall's.
Spence, what's been your guilty pleasure during this thing? Having breakdowns?
Having breakdowns. Yeah. Crying.
What
No,
a
but
guilty
how has
pleasure.
this changed your life? We want to know.
Yeah. What's different?
Crying excessively. Okay, never mind.
That's
Crying
enough.
more than usual.
He has
More.
cried more in these last few weeks
He's getting
than,
emotional right now.
than I've seen him cry our whole relationship. And we've been dating for almost 3 years. And just in this like 2.5 week time period, he's shed way more tears. So
I've seen a lot of that on Twitter. A lot of people have said they've like cried and stuff, so it's normal. Let it out.
Thomas, what
Okay.
do you do when he cries? How do you console him? Oh, that's good.
I was like, I don't know what to do with that. Okay.
No. He says, say it, everything's going to be okay, right? Say it.
Oh, that's sad.
You have to say it.
Everything's gonna be okay, right?
That's cute.
While I'm crying.
He starts crying too.
Everything's gonna be okay.
No, he's
like,
only
you
crying
need
for
to go
Selena
right
during this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You put on a Selena video, and
I'm not gonna lie. On Sunday, maybe it's because there were some activities going on earlier in the day. But Sunday, I was watching 2 hours straight of Selena videos, and these things were, all the eyes were watery. And Spencer looked at me at one point. He's like, "It's gonna be okay." And I was texting some friends of mine today, and I was like, I don't understand why I'm a 40-year-old man who never met this woman, who died 25 years ago, and I'm still like, but whatever. I'll get over it.
But you connect with her. Like, yeah, no, it's like everybody has their...
I will say this one thing.
That they identify.
Well, I'll say two things about this. First thing is, like, what I was watching on Sunday were YouTube videos about other people, like people from Ireland and like people who didn't know, people who were African American, like who did not identify with Selena, like they were watching her videos and moving to them. So I was like, oh, that's cool. She's made an impact. Second of all, today is actually my nephew's birthday. And then what was the first thing I thought? I was like, oh, Selena died, which is what oh my gosh, she'll catch this later. But which
nephew? Dylan? Or?
Yeah, my middle nephew, Dylan.
Whose birthday's today?
Dylan.
It's always too soon for Selena.
Well, Dylan, yeah. So my sister was like, when she was like, he's due on the 31st. She's like, God dang it, he's gonna be born on the day Selena died. Like, what kind of memory is that? And so, I mean, these are the things my family worries about. But I did feel badly for my nephew because first, like I said, my first thought today was it's the day 25 years ago Selena died.
Was it Selena?
And secondly, I was like, I didn't realize, like they which is kudos to the teachers, and I know Dusty's watching and he's a teacher. But like this teacher organized a Zoom call so all the kids could sing happy birthday to him. So that was kind of cool. And I actually we did a video.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And then we did a video call. Spence and I did one. Of course, they don't care about me because Spence is the cool uncle, and so because he makes cookies and stuff with them. So they were like, "Hi, Spencer," and they didn't acknowledge me at all. But I'm okay with that. That's fine. I'm not bitter. All right, Tony, bring us home. What's your question?
So my guilty pleasure,
your guilty pleasure. My bad.
Which I've only done a couple times, is like napping, like while I'm at work. So like, you know,
napping while you're at work.
Like, you have to be like logged on by a certain time, and then we have like the instant messenger, which shows like how long you're away. But there have been a few times where I'm like napping for like 20 minutes. But it's been really nice because during the week,
how's that
I
different
can, like,
from your normal day at work?
Go to the grocery store, like on my lunch hour, I can like be doing laundry and shit while I'm working. I can just take like 5 minutes. So it made me think, like, because I live like 5 minutes from downtown, and so I have no commute. And so I've always been like, I hate working from home because by the time you're logged on, I can just be like at work and it's more efficient. But at the end of this thing, I think I might try to like work from home 1 or 2 days a week.
Oh, that's good.
Does your job allow you to do the work from home normally?
So we just a month or two ago, we passed, like, we got a policy where you can work from home 1 day a week. Mm-hmm. But if you do that, you have to select the day, and it's like every Wednesday or every Thursday or whatever. And so I was like, but they're also like fairly flexible.
Have you ever thought about quitting your job?
Wow.
Not on air. Hey, Tony, don't answer that question.
No, Kendall is kind of an inspiration to me. You know, he's like, I will say, Kendall, you are an inspiration because like when we first started doing the podcast, Kendall was like, just one day, he's like, yeah, quit my job. And we're like, what happened? He's like, I don't like it. I was like, why? Like, I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer to everybody else and like have that vibe going through the store because he managed the store. So he's like, I quit. And I'm like, damn, I'm so practical. I should follow in your footsteps once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of inspirational. It's kind of just,
I like my job now, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
I do.
It really is inspirational. Just like one day, just like decide, like, okay, I'm over it. Let's do something different. You know,
Exactly.
Crazy. I mean, that's like one thing that I've always thought like about Thomas and Kendall both. I mean, Thomas left his job, like go like his cush job to go do like start his own business.
I know.
Just random, just quit your job to do your own thing too. I mean, that's ballsy. I mean, it really is. I don't know what else to call it.
Well, you know what?
I'm a few years away from that.
I think what the cool thing about this like whole like as awful as it is, I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that comes out of like what people are going to do. I mean, you just see it like, I mean, not to use TikTok as a reference, but I mean, like you see lots of cool things happening, like in terms of what people are doing and how they're making money and sort like all the creative stuff that's going to come out of it. So I'm interested to see what happens on the other side. I mean, just look at Chris. Look at Chris right now though. He's already planning for his YouTube live. He's got the best like photo, like in terms of like what's happening, like the setup, like he's got like a good profile. Like he's got that. He's got his living room in the background. He's got the couch. He is ready for those YouTube close-ups.
I got the natural lighting. I've got the golden hour coming through.
No, that's a golden shower, honey.
I rescued all those tarantulas.
I rescued all of them.
But I do feel like, Thomas, getting back to your point, I do feel like, after like 9/11, after the financial crisis, a lot of people do take stock of their lives. And I remember one of my friends, she used to work in the admissions office at like a law school in New Orleans. And anytime there's something like this, like after 9/11, after the 2008 financial crisis, admissions spike because I think people really take stock of, the economy can like crash at any moment. And so you should do more of what you love versus like, I need a paycheck. And I do feel like, and I mean, if the country's going to be on lockdown another month plus, there's going to be a lot of small businesses that falter. I mean, like even like Holler Brewing today, they said, look, all of our employees are on furlough. Like we can't really afford to pay them until this reopens, whatever. And so I do feel a lot of people are going to take stock in their life and maybe, kind of rejigger and do something that like they love more than, just doing whatever they need to.
Yeah.
No, I actually agree. Like one of my favorite things that I've seen online, because like, I mean, it goes back to the gig economy that Thomas mentioned earlier, that you look at all like the drag queens, that they're all paid, like local drag queen, are all paid based on like gigs and whether or not people show up to bars and like some
tips.
Yeah, exactly. And seeing online like the digital drag shows that are coming out, like seeing how successful those are, and like seeing people like prosper like by doing shit like that, like it's opened a whole new field of like digital drag and digital shows that are possible for people that are stuck at home. I mean, it's allowing creativity to flow through people's bodies. I have to give a shout out to
Melissa.
Also Melissa, not her.
Local drag.
Melissa.
She's a local drag queen. And
It's not.
What?
Did you say Melissa's a local drag queen?
No, Muppy Vanderbilt III.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You're not
Melissa's
listening. She is
Is
a little
Melissa listening?
Yeah.
she's still on.
Spencer's.
Melissa, hey
She
Melissa,
says
I love
she's
you.
bored.
Welcome back, Spencer.
But yeah, this drag queen created like an online like Facebook group for like people to do a drag show. And so like they've been doing a drag, or not just a drag show, a drag competition. And so they've been doing a lot of like different categories and like all this different stuff for like at home stuff. And it's been really interesting to watch and like see how much creativity is just like flowing from these people doing this competition. It's really impressive.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, that's cool that that drag has moved online, and so support your local drag queens, y'all. So yeah, all right.
Is Dixie thinking of a career change right now?
If I had some makeup, I would do that.
You can
There's
Venmo
plenty
some-
of chat rooms for you to perform in.
Oh yeah, just pop in some digital drag show.
Hey, put on lashes upside down like Rosa and get on TikTok.
Is this going to be my YouTube like debut?
I think it would be horrible for you.
Yeah, it would be.
Speaking of all this local drag, Sammy just noted, he's like, there was a virtual dance party, a Zoom virtual dance party last week or recently. and they raised $10,000 for local drag queens and the service industry. So things
No
are
way,
happening.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
$10,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in one weekend. So I mean, does the Eagle make $10,000? They probably do. I've seen my bank statements say.
Yeah, they do.
Fuck yeah, they do.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see my
they do.
bank statements.
I know what happens. All right.
And you're one of the fucking couple hundred that go in there, yeah.
Yeah. Tony, what's your question? Do you have a question for the group?
So my question is, with all this like quarantining, staying in, things like that, what has it made you realize about yourself that you didn't maybe realize before the quarantine? Is there anything that you're like, wow, I didn't realize that about myself?
Too real.
I know.
Too real.
I'll go first. I think it's made me realize that I'm much more introverted than I thought, if that makes any sense. Like, I always thought that I was an extrovert and, like, craved people's attention, but, like, 2 weeks being at home has actually been, like, not shitty. If that makes any sense. Like, I've really enjoyed, like, being at home with Bailey, with Savannah. I mean, I know that I have social interaction because I have a roommate, but, like, I guess, like, I always thought that I needed more, and I always needed, like, other people to talk to, and needed, like, so much more love, you know. I don't know. I always thought that, like, I was much more outgoing and more extroverted than I actually am because I have, like I said, not hated being at home. So, but, like, I see on Twitter, like, all these people, like, oh, I always thought that I was an introvert, and, like, now I'm, like, craving all this, like, attention from people, and, like, people are kind of crazy, like, stir crazy, and, like, I have not had that problem yet. So, yeah, call me weird.
We called you that before all this.
Keep calling me.
Yay!
Keep it up.
Spencer, you want to answer Tony's question?
No.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't remember it?
No, I don't know what I don't know what I've realized. I don't think
He's
I've
afraid.
realized
He
anything
doesn't realize anything about himself.
I'll answer it, and I don't like it, but hey, it's honesty.
He's like, I'm the same old.
No, like I said, this quarantine has not brought out the cutest Kindle that you all see every day that you're used to. I've been really good about, up until now, not commenting on ridiculous Facebook conspiracy theory, hateful comments until the last 2 weeks, week and a half, probably. And I don't want to, then it just becomes you're that guy that's participating in hateful, stupid Facebook comments. So what I do now is, or I've tried to do, I'll write the comment and I'll delete it before I send it. Because there's so much ugly meanness online, and I just don't want to be. I'm trying not to. I was never a part of it until this last week, and I'm like, get it together, people.
See, Kendall, you've never worked in corporate America because that's a classic rule of corporate America. Anytime you want to send an email to someone who just really pissed you off, you type it, and then you're like, you take a lap.
Lincoln used to do that. He used to write full pages of letters to his enemies that he hated, and he would put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, write it, address it to them, but never hand it off to have it mailed. So I'm basically Abraham Lincoln.
That's what I gleaned from.
Wow, are you gonna be president?
Yeah, are you gonna be the first
lady?
You're gonna be the first lady. I was gonna say, are you gonna be the first gay president?
I can't ever be in politics because of my Facebook comments in the last week.
Exactly. Thank you.
Before I started deleting them.
You can be president of the NLBA.
No.
NAMBLA?
Nambla.
Stop
NAMBLA,
trying
yeah.
to make that a thing with me. I teach y'all one thing and you act like you've never heard it before. I've had to bring these out a lot.
What you have? Spence, you nothing? I think you've learned that you are.
He got really scared. That triggered him.
Yeah, he's
Well,
like
then,
too real.
Spencer, you can answer my alternative question, which is, what is the best thing and what is the worst thing about this quarantine?
The best thing about the quarantine is that I can just spend a lot more time with Thomas because he always wants to go work somewhere else, and now he has to stay with
That's sweet. Okay.
Like
The worst thing.
He has to spend all this time with me.
Now you have to be with me all the time.
Ted Bundy.
But the worst thing is that I don't get to see my family as often. My brother is panicking and doesn't want to see anybody. And
It's not that he doesn't want to see anybody.
We went to see my mom and dad, but
Is this the
He's
excessive
scared.
crying that you were talking about earlier?
It's about to happen.
I'm not crying.
You're crying.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, I have mascara on tonight. I can't cry.
Hey, if anyone wants to hear Spencer crying, he can go to Our Spoopy Podcast.
That's Our Spoopy Podcast at ourspoopypodcast.com.
In October, and he cries.
Yes. I think that's a good one to end on, Tony. Like, we should go around in that best and worst. So I will answer all of your questions. Thing I've learned most about myself. That was your first question, right? It's that I actually can't. I mean, I think it was kind of what Chris was saying. That I'm not an introvert, but I don't mind being isolated. Surprisingly, this has been an okay transition. It's weird because I tell folks, like, all this stuff's happening. I mean, there's been analogies to the feeling of 9/11 and the feeling of like Ike and those sorts of things hitting, Ike, Harvey, those like big massive events. But it's like we're still like in those things. There's a disruption. Like here, we're still in the comfort of our. I mean, we can watch the Tiger King and all these like binge watch and everything's still there.
Well, then do it.
So that's weird.
Yeah, there's no like the power's not out. You can drink the water.
Yeah.
Like
Which
you
is
go to the grocery store.
as opposed to a month ago when we in Houston we didn't have water. And don't get Kendall started on that.
Please. Do not start
because
that.
the Diet Coke machines were out.
No, because of the poor guy that busted the pipe that you were trying to blame.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait for my memoir.
The best thing is, though, I love hanging out with Spencer, so that's been fun. It's been good to have that. And then just like us being able to hang out, and like I said, you would think that spending so much time with someone, and I always thought this about myself too. You spend so much time with a person, like you're like gonna butt heads, but we complement each other very well. Although he didn't compliment me this morning when he said I was the old one of the couple. He was the handsome and the smart and the funny one, and I was just the old guy. So, but we're over that.
You're just airing our pillow talk.
That's the worst thing. That pillow talk this morning.
That's the bitter pillows.
Drama.
We have to
Oh
keep
my
something.
God.
We've been all friendly.
What did I say to you later than that?
You love me. We've been
That you're the handsome and smart and cute one.
No, thanks. We've been.
Are you in fear?
Huh?
Thomas is in fear. Thomas, blink 7 times if you're in fear for your life.
Right. But that's my answer. So, I answered all your questions, Tony. Best and worst, Chris. What are your answers?
Best and worst. I honestly say that like getting to relax and spending more quality time with my roommate Savannah has been really enjoyable. Actually.
Where's Nick? Is he somewhere in all this?
No. He's in
Where's
Galveston.
Nick?
Nick's down there, yeah, Nick's quarantined in Galveston, so I'm thankful he's still there. I'm just kidding.
He's like, I love spending more time with my roommate, Savannah.
Just Savannah. No, I feel like Nick would have killed us. I think he would just be like tired of us staying up until 3 in the morning. Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I really have enjoyed, me and Savannah got along really well during Hurricane Harvey, and that was a big deal. I mean, staying in a house with someone for 6 days without killing them is a pretty lot. Now being in the house with someone for 2.5 weeks without killing them is also impressive. So it shows that we have a really good relationship, and I'm really proud of our friendship and how much I love her. But anyways, but no, relaxing. I am a person that's very known for like never giving myself downtime. My friend Alyssa, they call me out for that because I'm always like, oh, well, I got off work and I went to go record the podcast, and after that I'm going to a drag show, and then like I got 5 hours of sleep, and then I woke up and like worked out. Yeah. Also, there's stuff like, I know you guys joke with me about like not ever actually working, but like I'm always going. And so like I'll take a nap in the middle of the day, and you guys are like, why aren't you working? Like, I didn't sleep last night. Like, I'm always doing something. And so like basically forcing myself to like shut down and reset has been a thing. I think the worst thing is like not being able to be the social butterfly that I want to be, even though I mentioned like I don't worry about that, or it doesn't hurt me. I really wish that I could still like go out and like, oh hey, you want to go like grab a burger at Whataburger and get a 69 Diet Coke with Kindle.
A 69.
Oh, hello.
69 cents. Sorry.
He's a married man.
JR's and the Eagle. You ain't worried about no Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Yeah, I want to go to the Eagle and I want to see all the cute boys are out there.
Is this
Is
the symbol for cute? Cute boys.
They like paint their cheeks.
What are you, a grandma?
Ew.
All of their cheeks.
All right, Pinot
Make them
Grigio.
all clap.
What about you, Pinot Grigio? What's your answer, Kendall, to Tony's question?
What was the
Kendall,
question?
Ah!
Best and worst
the
of
best
quarantine.
thing and the worst thing about the quarantine.
The best thing is that I like being at home. Please don't ever make me leave this compound again. I'm perfectly fine with staying here.
Isn't it Morky?
The worst thing is that if I get grumpy or grouchy, there's no exit at all. There's no like way for me to like leave and decompress, or there's no distraction. It's like, here's your four walls that you liked 5 minutes ago, and now you're striking a match and pouring gasoline. So I will actually say I'm going to turn my grumpiness into a realization, which I'm trying to be doing. It's like, okay, control it. Don't be so grumpy and aggravating. And it's making me realize traits I don't like about. I'm not going to make it all rosy and cute, okay?
Okay.
So that's it. But y'all, look at my skin, because I finally took a shower and washed my face. Look at that. Beautiful. This is color for me.
Well,
Wait, how long did you go without a shower? You didn't answer Tony's answer.
The longest I had gone was 3 days. Not gonna lie.
Oh my god.
That was before the quarantine.
The average is a day and a half, 30 hours, we'll say. Yeah.
Okay.
Boo, if you want honesty, come to me. Come to KK, okay?
What, are you saying that we were lying?
Well, I think that rounds out the questions. What else do you got? Anything else we haven't talked about, ladies, that you were like...
Wait, what was my other question?
Oh, you had another question.
Not a...
Oh, you did have another question. What was your
He's
other
got
question?
more questions, though.
Did I have another one?
I think you did. What is it?
Oh, I did, yeah. What is something that you want to change when this is all over?
More White Claw. I'll be right back.
Something I want to change.
Well, be careful opening up Pandora's box,
Right.
because I think this has exposed a lot of things about our economy and our political system.
Oh.
Oh
And our
boy.
You,
things that we take for granted.
what do you want to change?
So,
What do you want to change personally about yourself?
About your day-to-day, Kendall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about your day-to-day, about your life. Like, is that better?
That you can control and change.
But I do have to... I have
y'all
a
shut me
comment to
down
what
real
you said.
quick. Probably shower as frequently as I do now.
That would be my guess. I was like, Kendall, I know you're going to say I don't want to shower anymore.
With the frequency that I do now. How about you, Thomas?
Something I want to change. It gives me perspective that it's like, there's a downtime. Like you got to react. It's all business related. Like I want to make sure that I'm on top of stuff a bit more. So, because this stuff shifts quickly, so you got to be on it. That's probably it. More hustle.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what's interesting is that I'm still working, and it's Still like emailing people, like still trying to keep business going and within work and making appointments and all this kind of stuff. And it might take a little bit longer to get those emails back. And you have to be like, to me, I've realized, and I already knew this before, but it makes it more obvious that we're so like, we want instant. I emailed you 30 minutes ago. Why responded?
Yeah.
And now it can take 30 hours, and it's like, I get it. You've laid off 15 people, and now you're doing 15 people's jobs and all that. So I think it's made people realize more, slow down and be patient, and it ain't that important, boo.
Yeah.
Tony, answer.
Tony.
So I kind of agree with Kendall. Like, so for me, like I go through phases where I'm like kind of a homebody, or I'm kind of like, Chris, where I'm like go all the time. And so times like this, it reminds me, because immediately prior to the coronavirus, I was like more of a go. And so it reminds me, like, it's kind of nice to have some downtime at home. Like, similar to Kendall, it's like, shit gets done. And so, like, I really enjoyed, like, I log on and work all day while I'm supposed to be there, but I log off at, like, between 5 and 6. And then I go for, like, a long bike ride. I spend time with the dog. And so it's like, I'll get to you tomorrow on the stuff I didn't get to today. And so, similar to Kindle, it's kind of reminds you to like kind of take a pause, and it's like reset you a little bit. That's why I do feel like, and I've seen so many people as I ride my bike every night, like families doing picnics, families going for bike rides, and you can tell they never go for bike rides because they're like wobbling all over the place. So it's like, just, I feel like it's kind of resetting people as far as like, prioritizing values and stuff. So maybe just like, less hustle for me, not more hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to put more hustle into my personal life, but,
there you go.
Work life is going to be less hustle.
I think I would tag on to what Tony said, and that made me realize that I've never seen my brother get panicked about things before, or be worried about anything ever. So it's made me realize that maybe he's a little more human than I've made him out in my mind before, and that I need to make a better effort at making a relationship with him.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, well, that's cool.
That is sweet. Look at you. Big brothers, they have feelings
Look
too.
how sweet you're being.
It's cute. He's going to cry now. We did get another question, and I'm going to raise this one because it's specifically about Selena's and how they said, Illich said, "Hello, guapos. Thomas, how are you after Selena's passing anniversary?" I said earlier, I am devastated still to this day. I spent Sunday just puffy-eyed, and I thought I was hiding it well, but Spencer called me on it and said, it's okay. So, yeah.
Really? Do you do that every year? Or
no, you know what?
This year was more prevalent.
I don't know what it was. Like I said, even when I was doing the research for the podcast, I was getting all emotional. Her sister, and I'm not related to her, but I think her sister said the same thing in terms of like some years are good, some years are like it just passes, and other years it's like it's emotional.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because this year was the first year it was a aha for me in terms of like why it's so sad. It's like you see her family, like again, I mentioned this on the podcast, like Freddie Mercury passes or George Michael or someone, like you hear the story from their bandmates who don't live with them and didn't grow up with them. And then with Selena, like you've heard the story, like every time you hear a story about Selena, it's from her dad or her brother or her sister or her mom, who still like gets emotional to this day every time she talks about her. So I think it's that, watching that. But I also think it's now someone, the folks that are Chris's age who didn't know Selena, who are like, oh, like they're wearing her T-shirt. Like to me, that's like 22,
35.
He's 12.
You said I'm younger.
Yeah, he's cute.
5. Okay.
35. 35.
35. Oh,
Just a baby.
So again, I will talk about Selena as long as you let me, but I think these guys get tired of it. Actually, they're very patient.
Selena's a cutie pie. We like Selena.
They're very patient. So, all right, well, ladies, we have unless you guys have anything else to kiki about, we're about an hour into our happy hour, and I think I think we've had a good time.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah.
We love doing this.
Yeah, glad.
It was actually a lot of fun. I was very impressed with this.
We appreciate the feedback after we finally got all the technology situated. So, if you are
since we Houston just went on another 1 month of quarantine, maybe we'll do this again in a couple weeks and see if we're still groomed, sane.
Yeah, let us know if you're interested in hearing us babble again, and we'll figure out a way we can be a bit more interactive too. We had fun doing this. I mean, we were going to do this anyway. We thought, why not put this on Facebook so folks can, so you guys can follow along.
Open it up live. Yeah.
So, but
join in, hang out.
If you wanted us to do it again, let us know. We are the guys from Let's Talk About Gay Stuff and Our Spoopy Podcast. Our Spoopy guys, where can we find you?
We're on Our Spoopy Podcast at ourspoopypodcast.com. Our Spoopy Podcast on Instagram. Our Spoop on Facebook. And Our Spoopy on Twitter. And Chris, should we tell them that they need to...
Well,
yeah. No, yeah.
If you want to drop us a line and want to get real personal with it and send us like a real personal connection, you can send an email at ourspoopypodcast@gmail.com. But we should tell them to...
Get spoopy with it!
Yes. Well, thank you guys for that. I mean, we normally have. I would just do a quick plug just because it is we're in an interesting time and small businesses are struggling. We've had a couple of sponsors over the last few weeks. Some new sponsors. We had InFocus Group, who is promoting diversity. They're a small LGBT-owned business, as well as Baked Bones, who Tony is familiar, and we all are familiar because we've given our dogs Baked Bones. So that's a small LGBT-owned business out of Houston, Texas. They do Baked Bones treats that are CBD, made with CBD oil, and good for your dogs. Will help them calm if they're anxious or nervous, and they definitely would appreciate your support during this time. We also Yellow Sunshine Tomato Company, who makes tomato sauce with yellow tomatoes, is another group, again Houston-based, LGBT-owned. They would definitely appreciate your support during this time. And we talked about on our podcast recently. There's another sponsor we've had. It's a nonprofit organization in San Antonio, the Woodlawn Theater. They have had to suspend all their operations, the plays, the fundraisers they were providing, and they're not able to do that. They're currently holding an online fundraiser, so they'll take they appreciate any support that you could provide to them as well, to help them kind of stay afloat, because they do run the risk as this thing goes longer. They're okay now, but they run the risk of potentially running out of funds. So if you're in a position to do that, I know not of us all are. I know some of us have received some bad news over the last few weeks, but if you're in a position to do that, support them, as well as support local drag, right? Yes.
Local drag.
So do that as well. So, that one. He's down. He's below you now.
He's over here for me.
Oh, he's
he's here for me.
But with all of that, I mean, you see Tony there, Kendall, and myself. We're the guys from Let's Talk About Gay Stuff, where we talk about the week in LGBT history. I didn't talk about my own business, Economy Works. Can I hear Our Spoopy Podcast guys give the Economy Works tagline?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Wait. I got some stuff to do here. Hold on. Wait, and we're waiting because Word takes a long time to start on my computer.
It's just the tagline. When we work.
Are you just on
just the tagline?
Yeah.
Okay. So. Economy Works. That's ECONOMIWORKS.com. Because when we work, the economy works!
I only say that because there's been a couple of folks who've seen me outside of this, and they're like, "Oh, Economy Works." They're like, who also listen to the podcast. They're like, "I cannot hear Economy Works without the when we work, the economy works." And I'm like, "You guys do it better." So Yes.
Yes, I love that.
So, any parting words? We'll go around the horn. Spencer, anything?
Get Spoopy with it.
Chris?
Yes. I love all of you guys. Be safe this entire time. Please stay home during this time. Flatten the curve, y'all. But also get spoopy with it.
And Tony?
Love you all. Stay safe. Flatten the curve, but I feel like we're doing enough here. Let's just keep maintaining.
What about you, Kendall?
Stay sane, stay beautiful, stay indoors, stay grumpy. It's okay to be grumpy and then
shower, please. Thank you.
It's okay to shower every third day.
Yes. All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you guys on the horn with us. So Spencer, Chris, Kendall, and Tony, appreciate hanging out virtually. It's been fun. I wasn't sure how this was going to work out, but of course we managed to have a good time. So other than the technical difficulties at the beginning, and for folks that were following along online, we appreciate you listening and listening to and following. If you could keep up with whatever was going on coming out of our mouths. So thanks, and get spoopy with it, and let's keep talking about gay stuff, and we'll be back soon enough. So yeah, thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.